Okay, I'd like to bring the planning commission meeting to order. If we could all please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could we please have the roll call?
Scott Hansen.
Here.
Ben Terrell. Lisa Lewitsky. Here. Ray Whitaker. Ed Kemp.
Yes.
Tim Ketron.
Here.
Zachary Dillinger. Frank Holmes.
Here.
Brian Ross.
Here. Thank you. Have the proper notices been posted and sent?
They have.
Thank you. What are your wishes for the agenda this evening?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose that we change CU 424-2 to be heard after CU 896-9.
That's something you're good with, Scott?
That's fine with me, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so a motion and support, I'm assuming. Okay, any other comments or discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor of the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. What are your wishes on the March 5th minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
Support?
We have a motion and support to approve the March 5th, 2024 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is public comments. That is anything that's not on the agenda this evening. And I would like to, if we could, any discussion or any comments on the master plan update, if we could wait until after in the other business, and then we'll take time to discuss it then. Are there any other public comments at this time? Okay, seeing none, could we please have the staff report on CU-8-96-9, please?
CU 8969, a request by Centennial Acres for a change of conditions to an existing conditional use permit, which allows for the operation of a golf course and country club per section 1411 of the zoning ordinance at 12485 and 12388 Dow Road, section 7 of Roxanne Township, section 12 of Sunfield Township. Specifically, the request is to allow for a land division and lot line adjustment of the properties. The site totals 237.84 acres. The property is zoned limited agricultural. The land use and site use history are both a golf course. It is surrounded by residential and agricultural. The soils class is essential and non-essential. It is also surrounded by essential and non-essential. Dow Road is not a major road. Applicant's statement. The applicant is requesting a change of conditions to an existing conditional use permit to allow for a land division and lot line adjustment. They state, not changing the golf course operation, would like to divide and adjust parcel 020007 300 02001, see attached survey, would like to divide 010012 400 00202, see attached survey. The proposed divisions will result in 2 additional parcels. The golf course operates 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on a seasonal basis. 6 to 12 employees are on site during the hours of operation. The existing well and septic systems are used. Supplies that will be stored on site include golf carts and maintenance equipment. There are 6 existing driveways. Per the applicant, all public drives are paved and maintenance drives are gravel. None have curb and gutter. The anticipated traffic to the site is on average 20 to 75 vehicles per day. Parking for 155 vehicles is provided. The parking areas are lit and paved. Supplies are brought to the site by a light delivery truck. The applicant states we are adjusting parcel B on the Roxanne Township property survey to the parcel to the east, and parcel C is created for potential future sale. We are creating parcel A as shown on the Sunfield Township property survey for potential future sale. The application was sent out for site plan review. The Barry Eaton District Health Department approved, the Eaton Conservation District approved, Sunfield Township approved with comment. In support of the possibility of more residential property and/or new build, while not included, and I did not receive it in writing, Roxanne Township did verbally approve the application as well. 30 surrounding property owners were notified. No responses were received in writing. However, I did have the privilege of speaking with 2 surrounding property owners today. The specific regulations for Section 1411 golf courses and country clubs is included in the staff report. The property is designated as primary agricultural in the Eaton County Master Plan. In zoning ordinance Section 9.3.6, basis of the Planning Commission decision is included as well. Staff comments. Centennial Acres was approved to operate a 9-hole golf course in 1971. The business has grown over the years and is currently approved to operate a 27-hole golf course with a clubhouse, small reception building, and 3 maintenance buildings. Their last application to the Planning Commission was in 2017. A change of conditions was approved at that time for the construction of a deck. The current change of conditions request is to allow for the division of both parcels, each creating an additional parcels, 2 parcels total, for potential future sale. In addition, they are requesting a lot line adjustment with parcels 020, 007, 300, 09500. All proposed divisions and adjustment meet zoning ordinance requirements. Per the application and site plan, the golf course, existing buildings, proposed additions, parking, and signage appear to meet zoning ordinance requirements. The Planning Commission may use Section 9.36 and 1411 included in the staff report to determine if the business meets zoning ordinance requirements and what, if any, conditions may be required. Staff has reviewed the site plan per zoning ordinance section 8.4.3 and has determined it is complete for this application. That concludes the staff report.
Are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, if the applicant would like to come forward and if there's anything they'd like to add.
My name is John Fisher. My address is 6625 West Grand Ledge Highway, Sunfield, Michigan. I'm here for multiple reasons. One, our property is adjacent to Centennial Acres. I'm one of the owners of Centennial Acres, and I'm also chairman of the board of directors of Centennial Acres. And primarily, I'm here to see if there are any questions that I may be able to answer directly of the Planning Commission. So if there are any, I am here to, as I said, answer anything that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? I'm assuming that by the split of this, you're not changing anything to the golf course?
No,
Be the same? Anyone? Questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
he started to raise his hand.
Sir, on this layout here, so there's 2 different properties. You're going to be splitting partial of each, both of those? Do I understand that?
There's one parcel that's in Roxanne Township that is the far eastern corner of our property.
Okay.
It's right along Saginaw Highway. That's one parcel. The other parcel is in Sunfield Township, and it's almost to the far southwestern boundary of the Centennial Acres property. And in fact, at one time, there used to be a house on there. When we bought the property a number of years ago, it was a farm that had been abandoned. And so that parcel actually was originally, there was a farmhouse there, but it's been gone for years.
So at one point you combined that, now you want to separate it back? That the farm used to be?
No, it became part of what we refer to as our Sunset 9 holes of golf.
any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone like to speak in favor of the application? Anyone like to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the hearing and deliberate amongst the commissioners. Anyone have any concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Excuse me. I make a motion that we approve CU-8-96-9 as proposed.
Support.
We have a motion to support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, could I get a roll call vote, please?
Scott Hansen,
Yes.
Lisa Lewitsky,
Yes.
Ed Kemp. Tim Catron,
Yes?
Frank Holmes,
Yes.
Ryan Ross.
Yes.
John, your application has been approved, so I look forward to hearing from you tomorrow as to when you'd like to come in to take care of the lot line adjustment and land division forms.
Okay, next on the agenda is CU-4-24-2, please.
CU 4242, a request by Eaton Rapids Township for a conditional use permit to allow for continued operations of the Eaton Rapids Township Hall with the proposed addition per section 1410 of the zoning ordinance at 2512 South Canal Road, section 27, Eaton Rapids Township. The property is 1 acre in size. It is zoned low-density residential. The surrounding zoning is limited agricultural, low-density residential, and City of Eaton Rapids. The land use and site use history is Eaton Rapids Township Hall. Surrounding is residential, agricultural, and industrial. The soils class for the property is essential. It is surrounded by essential and non-essential. South Canal Road is a major road. The applicant statement, Eaton Rapids Township is requesting a conditional use permit for their legal non-conforming government facility. They state, the Eaton Rapids Township Hall has operated from this property since at least 1958. It is currently operated as a legal nonconformity. We are applying for a conditional use permit due to the fact that we would like to construct an addition onto the building. The operation of the Township Hall will not change. The proposed addition is to allow for more space for elections, storage, and add restrooms for public use during elections. The hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are 5 employees on site during the hours of operation. A 33 by 34 addition, which includes a 10 by 13 deck, is planned. The existing approximate 30 by 60 building constructed in 1842 is currently used as the Eaton Rapids Township Hall. The Spicer Creek drain is located within 500 feet of the property. The existing well septic drain field will continue to be used. The trash from the property is removed by Granger. There are 2 existing driveways. They are paved but do not have curb and gutter. Traffic to the site is 5 to 20 vehicles per day. Parking is provided for 18 vehicles. The parking area is lit but not paved. Supplies are brought to the site by a light delivery truck, FedEx and UPS. Previous applications applied for include a Board of Appeals variance, BA 8215, which was approved for the setback of a shed. The applicant state this request should be approved because we need the space to properly and safely serve the residents of Eaton Rapids Township during meetings, tax season, and elections. We have already gained the approval of the Barry Eaton District Health Department for our proposed addition. This application was sent out for site plan review. The Eaton County Drain Commissioner's Office commented. A soil erosion permit from the Eaton County Drain Commissioner's Office may be required. The Road Commission commented. I've reviewed the above-mentioned CUP application and find no impacts to Eaton County roads. If work will occur within the public right-of-way, a permit will be required from the Eaton County Road Commission. And the Eaton Rapids Township Board commented. At the March 14th, 2024 regular Township Board meeting, the board reviewed application CU 4242, Eaton Rapids Township, and has approved the application. The 5 surrounding property owners were notified. No written responses were received. Included in the application is zoning ordinance section 1410, educational institution and government facilities. The property is master planned as rural residential, which equates to low-density residential. Also included is zoning ordinance section 9.3.6, basis of the Planning Commission decision. Staff comments. Per the zoning ordinance, a government facility may operate with a conditional use permit in a low-density residential zoned district. As stated in the application and per department records, the Eaton Rapids Township Hall is a legal nonconformity as it has operated from the site since at least 1958. Eaton Rapids Township was given the option to apply for a conditional use permit or obtain approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals for the expansion of a legal nonconforming use. They chose to apply for the conditional use permit. The location of the building is also a legal nonconformity as it does not meet the required setbacks. The proposed addition does not go further into the nonconforming setbacks. Therefore, per zoning ordinance section 12.2.4, expansion of nonconforming structures, the applicants are not required to apply for a variance. Per the zoning ordinance, parking requirements for a government facility are 1 space for every 400 square feet of floor area or 1 space for every 4 persons permitted to occupy the building by law, whichever is greater. The existing building and addition will be approximately 2,922 square feet. This would require 7 parking spaces. The occupancy of the building will not be known until the proposed addition is constructed. The application and site plan indicate 18 parking spaces are provided. Sign requirements per the ordinance are 1 ground sign no larger than 32 square feet with a maximum height of 8 feet or a wall sign. A sign is not shown on the site plan because one is not proposed. There is an existing wall sign identifying the building as the Eaton Rapids Township Hall. The Planning Commission may use zoning ordinance sections 9.3.6 and 1410 included in the staff report to determine if this business meets zoning ordinance requirements and what, if any, conditions may be required. Staff has reviewed the site plan per the zoning ordinance section 8.4.3 and has determined it is complete for this application. Also, the Barre Eaton District Health Department, while they still approved the application, the original approval was only, they thought it was only for a deck when the builder submitted the site plan. So they did give an approval with an amended comment, approved, but is required to pump, crush, and fill any septic tank that may exist under the proposed structure. Call the Barre Eaton District Health Department if drain field is found under proposed floor plan. If a drain field is found to be located in the area shown on application, one trench found through with clean stone. So essentially, they're saying that the drain field that was found for the use of this building was one trench that did have clean stone, and they don't have any concerns. And that completes the staff report.
Questions of staff?
He is not here yet. He's walking in right now.
Way to get on the hot seat right away. At this time, the applicant just came in, so we'll throw him right on the hot seat. We just had staff report. Tell us what you wanted to do. Is there anything you'd like to add or make comments on about that for us?
Don't know of anything special other than we just need to add on to the township hall, and we wanted to make our meeting room a little bigger, and then also the office area is going to be for voting for the sequestered, or not, well, the AV counting board. So we're just trying to make it a little more productive. Other than that, I don't know if I can answer any questions. I know it's kind of running fast.
Is there anyone who has any questions of the applicant?
Let's go straight west of the building now.
Pardon me?
Yeah, on the west behind the building.
Yes, toward the parking lot. Yep.
We're gonna park lot with that farther.
The parking lot won't have to change. We're not coming out that far.
Just gonna eliminate where the walk is and,
A little bit of the walk, yep, and then we'll come into the building, instead of going around and coming in the side, we'll come in more straight in, and it'll be a handicap ramp, and then it'll come into the meeting room itself.
thank you, guys.
Yep.
Anyone else have any Sure.
The health department said something about the septic system. Could you explain the septic system a little bit? And what their concern might have been,
And pardon me?
and what their concern might have been?
I'm not sure what their concern was, other than we had to make sure we had reserve, which we're not into the reserve area.
Okay,
Is that what their concern was, I believe?
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no, the reserve area is farther back. We made sure we're not setting on top of that.
Okay.
It puts it farther away from the well.
Other question I had is the County Drain Commissioner said that a soil erosion permit might be required. Is there any drain or channel really close to the hall?
Would be to the south, Spicer Drain runs through there, but that's probably 200 yards away, 300 yards away. It's through like two people's yards to get there. And if there's a question, we'll definitely put up the netting if that's required of us. It wouldn't be any problem.
And my last one was the Eaton County Road Commission said if work will be within the public road right-of-way, a permit will be required. It doesn't look to me like there'd be anything in the right-of-way.
Nope, that doesn't change a bit. The driveways will stay the same. The front of the building stays the same. Everything's on the backside.
Okay, that's all I had.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for your patience. I apologize.
Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of the application? Anyone like to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the hearing and deliberate amongst the commissioners. Anyone have any concerns? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve CU 4-24-2.
We have a motion support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Scott Hansen,
Yes.
Lisa Lewitsky,
Yes.
Ed Kemp, Tim Catron,
Yes?
Frank Holmes,
Yes.
Brian Ross.
Yes.
Mr. Morgan, the Planning Commission has approved your request for the conditional use permit. I know that your builder has already submitted his plans, I believe, for plan review. The drain office has actually already stamped your site plan, essentially giving you a waiver from needing a permit. So I will get with Mr. Taylor tomorrow to let him know where to begin.
Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
very
it.
welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda is PA 116 applications. See, there are none?
Correct.
Correct. Next, we'll move into other business. On this, at this portion of the agenda, we'll have staff report on the master plan update. Did you want to update anything on that? And then Tim and myself will give an update of what, when we went to Eaton and Carmel Township. Did you want to add anything?
I can give a brief overview. So the Eaton County Master Plan was sent out for the 63-day review back in February. That review period has ended, and the public hearing for the master plan update is scheduled for April 23rd at 6 p.m. On the day, the Board of Commissioners had approved for the master plan to go out for the 63-day review, a representative of the property located in both Eaton and Carmel Townships, north of I-69 off from Cochrane Road, had requested their property to be future planned for industrial versus general business. Since then, the representative of the property owner has gone to the Eaton Township meeting, the Carmel Township meeting. They have attended meeting with staff, township representatives, fire departments, City of Charlotte representatives regarding public water and sewer, and health department representatives for well, septic, and drain fields. So a decision of the Planning Commission is not expected this evening. However, I believe that Chairman Ross and Commissioner Catron plan to give an update from the perspective Carmel and Eaton Township meetings. And I am more than happy to answer questions as asked.
I'll start with the Eaton Township meeting. Both Tim and I were there along with Brandy and Chris. We went over there. They made their presentation, the owner's rep made their presentation. It went pretty good. A lot of the questions and concerns from Eaton Township stemmed rather, the city had enough capacity to be able to service anything that would be done, whether it was industrial or commercial, whether any of the residents on the way from the city down to the future industrial or commercial zone, future plan, would be able to be serviced, if the residents would have to be hooked up. There was a lot of questions on things that I guess mattered to the future, but not so much as far as what it was future planned for, because they're not changed. We're not looking to change. We're not looking. The owners aren't looking to change the zoning, just a future land use designation. At that time, Eaton Township unanimously voted to keep it the way it is, future plan. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make, it was what, a week, 10 days later, we had a meeting with staff, or I guess Brandy, City of Charlotte, Environmental Health, Carmel Township, and the landowner rep and the landowner were there. A lot of the questions that Eaton Township had were addressed. I don't know if it would have been addressed to enough to make them happy with what was told, but they had a lot of answers for things that were questioned. And a lot of discussion was had. It was told that the local or the land there would not work well at all for sewer systems, so on-site sewer systems, so that didn't really go well for them, but I think it would have answered a lot of Eaton Township's, concerns. Tim, did you have anything to add to that, or do you want to tell us about Carmel?
Just go to Carmel. I went to the Carmel Township meeting as part of that meeting was just part of their general board meeting. Again, the owner's representative was there and presented what they would like to do and change it to future land use of industrial. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of questions. Questions were largely to do with service by utilities. There was also some discussion about what might be developed at that intersection. One of the big concerns was whether the residences along the way should sewer be put in from the city of Charlotte to that property, whether residents along the way would be required to hook up to that sewer, and the answer is no. So the Carmel board approved it with a vote of 3-2, and that's it, unless somebody has something to add.
Do you have any questions or what went on, or anything of Brandy? Okay. At this time, I'll open it up to public comments. If people want to discuss it, I know the owner's rep would like to speak a couple minutes. More than welcome. If you could state your name and address when you come up here, just as well as everyone else when they come up and if they want to discuss anything.
Good evening. My name is Steve Chapkus. I am here as the representative of 1323 South County. I live at 12465 52nd Street in Lowell Township. Mr. Dick Suen and Mr. Ryan Suen of the owner group are here. For those of you that were at the prior meetings, I am not Eric DeYoung, who is the engineer that typically handle these things, but he is on spring break, so I get to pinch hit for him tonight. So hopefully I will do well for him. As has been mentioned, it is the request of the owner that their property, which lies just north of I-69 on Cochrane Road, be designated in the future land use map as industrial. It is currently in the present draft designated as general business. As has been mentioned, we've been attending many meetings and listening to the concerns. And yes, the water and sewer capacity does appear to be a major concern of everyone out there. To address this, even though it may be technically a little premature, we have met with the city, the township supervisors, Brandy the planner was there. And I believe the upshot of that is, as far as the city's concerned, water supply is abundant. The 5% reserve, 5% for Eaton Township, 5% reserve for Carmel Township is safe. That's not going to be used up. The notes I have from the meeting that I were given, says that extra capacity, there's some optimism that yes, there's capacity for an industrial use. Yes, as was stated, the city is not going to require residents to hook into the sewer if the sewer line is extended, and that has been a major concern for folks. The other thing the city, did seem to acknowledge is that whether this is general business and we get some big box stores, a restaurant, a hotel, or whether we put up industrial, the issues are all going to be the same. So it's not as if there's a prejudice of one use versus the other. The other big concern we've been hearing is, what does a modern industrial park look like? A lot of people have the old smokestack industry, slag piles in the parking lot view, and to answer that, I have packets, Brandy has it electronically, of sort of a market analysis of what the market for industrial is, and then a number of examples of recent industrial buildings that have been built just as sort of a base of examples for everyone to get comfortable with what modern industry looks like. We've also had people talk about the difference between light industrial use and heavy industrial use, and right now the current zoning is simply industrial. The county zoning ordinance does not distinguish that. So, that would be something that could be considered, but it would not be for us to do. That would be something that the county would have to look at. The other large concern has been stormwater runoff. This is always an issue when putting in large sections of pavement, large rooftops. That's a question of good engineering. And working with the county, working with the drain commissioner, working with all the various municipal groups to get an engineered stormwater retention system that works. And, there is, Eagle will have their comment on it too. So when that day comes, that will need to be engineered so that stormwater does not impact the neighbors. The principal reason, as we look at this and we say, why should industrial use be considered over general business? And the big word is jobs. We all know that the farming economy is consolidating. Fewer people in larger tractors do more acres. That puts people out of work. And we believe that an industrial development is going to have well-paying jobs that local folks can apply for, and at good wages and better wages than would be in a service industry or a retail industry. So we believe that industrial jobs will help keep the residents employed and living within the community. We also believe that industry will be a better neighbor to the agricultural community than general business. In the draft master plan on page 12-15, in the intent for general business, it says this designation provides for larger businesses with a regional draw and large footprint buildings that generate significant traffic.
Close to your 5 minutes.
I will speed it up. Traffic and farms don't mix. That's one. Number two, we believe that our traffic will be quick, close to the freeway exits. It's not going to impact agriculture. And lastly, if you look at the goals of industrial use in the master plan, and if you want, I have these written out, but we believe that an industrial use pegs those goals of the master plan quite well. Thank you very much.
Any questions? For the board? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on the master plan? Seeing none? Okay. Brandy, do you have anything you'd like to?
Yeah, one of the questions that was brought up at the Carmel Township meeting and the Eaton Township meeting was a previous application in Carmel Township to rezone the property. The property in Carmel Township is currently dual zoned general business C2 and limited ag. That rezoning took place in 1986 via a district change amendment application. That was for a truck stop that never went in. On the Eaton Township side, during the Carmel Township meeting, one of the residents who spoke very well and asked some wonderful questions had mentioned a previous application for that Eaton Township property. When staff researched it, I was able to find a district change amendment application from 1994 requesting to rezone the property to commercial. In 1994, the property wasn't master planned for commercial. I believe a petition that was signed by 114 surrounding property owners was signed in opposition, and the applicant withdrew the request. So the Planning Commission did not make a decision. Again, we're talking about rezoning applications and actual zoning, not future land use. But those were two questions about the property that were brought up at both meetings. So I thought the Planning Commission should have that information.
You said that the Board of Commissioners are going to get it later this month.
The Board of Commissioners, if at the public hearing on April 23rd at 6 PM, the Planning Commission chooses to adopt the draft master plan, they would make a direction with these properties in particular at that time, whether they would be future planned for industrial or commercial. The appropriate maps will be available for both commercial and industrial for the Planning Commission to make a decision during the public hearing, after which the Board of Commissioners would receive it to be heard at their May meeting.
Anyone want any more clarification or any questions from staff? Okay, thank you. Moving on, reports. Construction code, planning and zoning. I see you handed us your report.
February Public Works and Planning Report. Keep in mind, when the Planning Commission requested these reports, they will come a month behind, simply because of when your packet comes out and when we send our information to the Public Works and Planning Committee. But that is included and does give you a overview of the full department, including permits and enforcements and whatnot.
Any questions to staff on this? Okay. Zoning Ordinance Committee.
The Zoning Ordinance Committee did make changes that did move forward with the district change amendment application to agricultural businesses. The parking areas for them, and my brain just went blank, one other change. Brian, do you recall what the other one was? I did the application, it's all done.
That'll be heard by the Planning Commission in May. There are still quite a few items on the living agenda for the Zoning Ordinance Committee. We are on track to still meet the third Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock here in this office.
Okay. Board of Appeals?
The Board of Appeals did not meet this evening due to lack of business. They will be meeting next month on May 7th to consider an application.
Another portion on our agenda for public comments. Does anyone have anything that they would like to enlighten us on? Okay, seeing none, upcoming cases, appears we have one conditional use permit and one DCA, and I think the DCA is ours, correct?
Correct.
Conditional use permit application.
It is for a surface mine, a new surface mine in Eaton Rapids Township.
Okay. There is nothing else. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.